We're on our way to the city of L'Aquila, which was hit last year by a 6.3 magnitude earthquake. Earthquake geologist Gerald Roberts was part of a UK team of researchers who were on the scene immediately after the quake.
So that was the surprise to me when I first drove into L'Aquila 3 days after the earthquake. There was loads of buildings standing up. So I thought, oh, it's not too bad, is it? Yeah. But it's the fact that they're modern buildings, so they've been damaged, so they're not habitable. Yeah. And it was the medieval centre where there were masonry buildings where there was most collapses.
Arriving at a near deserted part of town, we joined Eutizio Vittori from the Italian government's Natural Hazards Unit. He's got us access to the red zone, an area which even this long after the quake is still out of bounds.
As you see, we are now inside the we'll say forbidden area. Forbidden, and you can understand why it is. For the access is forbidden here, and the situation is still very unstable. You see the rubble on the street, and it is dangerous to walk here.
The people whose homes these are not allowed back here. They fled in the small hours of the morning when the quake hit and haven't been back since. The earthquake itself lasted just a few seconds. At least 65,000 people were made homeless. "308 people died. We found out more about what happened that night from Eutizio.
The very day of the earthquake hit the area in the night. It was really bad on one side because most of the people were sleeping in their beds. Fortunately, I would say, fortunately, a smaller earthquake, a foreshock, we could tell after that, hit the area at, say, about 10 p.m. So many people were scared by this earthquake, so they spent the night in their cars. And they made probably a good decision because especially in this area, many houses, many buildings collapsed. And this probably also saved many lives.
This is the first time that Gerald's been back here since the earthquake.
Well, it's very strange to be in the centre of a thriving Italian city where you'd expect to see lots of fashionably dressed people wandering around, having a great time just before lunch, and it's completely deserted. One of the things is, I don't know about you, but I don't really want to look any of these people in the eye because it's just such a terrible thing which has happened to where they live. You have to get away from the feeling of being a voyeur because unless people see this, they don't realise what a serious problem it is, and it's important to document it.
The future of L'Aquila is still uncertain. The question of whether people will be able to return to their homes hangs heavy in the air.
People don't simply want to have a house. They have now, because there are no people left out of the house. Everybody, they obtained new flats. They live, but they live outside the town. The problem is that they want to return their homes. They want to return to their lives before the earthquake, and so they started to complain to make rallies, just asking and protesting, because they really wanted some action to be taken, and they are still waiting for this action.
But the task of restoring the historic town could be almost impossible.
You look at the state of this wall behind you, and I can't imagine entering that building to try and take out pieces of masonry, because that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to re-cement every bit of masonry. Basically, if the walls are like that, if that fell on you, that would kill you. So the thought of going into one of these buildings to try and fix it, there's just no way. So then the question arises, what are you actually going to do with these buildings? Can they be fixed, or is it, you've got to destroy a 16th century building just because it's too unsafe to restore? And this is one. There are literally hundreds of buildings like this in the centre of L'Aquila. So it's a clearly many-year project to do this. And yet people live here, and they can't live here at the moment.
"10 kilometres away from L'Aquila is the village of Paganica. It was here that the fault line which caused the earthquake ruptured the Earth's surface.
C'è qualcuno? C'è qualcuno?
We met Fernando Rossi, whose home sits directly on the fault.
Noi ci siamo visti l'altro anno, salve. Yes, now nobody is living here. They don't know when they will be allowed to return home. Cioè, voi non sapete quando riuscirete a tornare a casa, insomma.
Ma probabilmente qua si vedono.
Sono quelle case. So they, just after the earthquake, had a kind of tent just in the parking lot over there. Then they gave them this trailer over there. And after that, when the houses were ready, they were moved to buildings, these new buildings, which are in the valley, just in front of the town. The problem is that they told him that they will probably destroy this house, so he cannot return to live in this house. The bit will be removed and will be substituted with a lighter, more flexible, let's say, kind of building. But it is not, not yet clear what it will be the case.
Fernando showed us where the fault had ripped through these houses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, in these walls, this is what you see, this kind of sigmoidal rupture, but rupture is just underneath. But it,
questo è interessante. Questo qua.
You see, this is
questo qua.
What you see, this was at the same elevation before.
As that?
The same level, yes. This is the offset.
The house hasn't stopped moving since the earthquake.
There are additional maybe 4 centimeters of vertical offset.
Wow, since
So
November.
so we are monitoring this deformation, but I was not aware that it was so
It's all
much.
still moving.
Yeah.
Sì,
Yeah,
c'è
but
ancora
this is a
movimento.
typical. It is typical that for months or years after the earthquakes, the fault, the surface rupture keeps moving and releasing the strain accumulated. There is still movement going on.
you.